They say every day is for the thief, one day for the owner of the house. But ICPC, the Anti-Corruption Commission, has reversed the role. It is now every day for the owner of the house. If you're involved in bribery, over-invoicing, or any shady deal, the day of reckoning has come. ICPC, the Anti-Corruption Commission, is watching you. If you're reported for any corrupt practice, you'll be investigated, prosecuted, and punished. Corruption is harmful to our nation. Join the campaign against it by reporting any corrupt practice to ICPC, the Anti-Corruption Commission.
Let we join hands with ICPC, make them better.
Let's make Nigeria great again.
ICPC, they watch you.
One hand for corruption.
Break the chain of corruption now. Don't give, don't take. This message is brought to you by ICPC, the Anti-Corruption Commission.
Happy Independence, Nigeria. Welcome to Corruption Must Go, Independence Day Special Edition. I'm Hawa Garba. With me is Ruth Awudi.
Happy Independence Day, Nigeria. Welcome to Corruption Must Go. I am Ruth Awudi.
Since independence in 1960, there have been cases of official corruption and abuse of office in Nigeria's national life. Successive governments have put in place various legislations and mechanisms to put a stop to this ugly trend. However, it appeared corruption had defied all these efforts and was waxing stronger. At the return to democratic rule on May 29, 1999, there was immense domestic and international pressure on the new administration to fight the menace of corruption, as Nigeria was already blacklisted as the second most corrupt nation in the world by the global anti-corruption watchdog, the Transparency International.
In his effort to change this narrative and place Nigeria on the path of socio-economic and political recovery, the then President Olusegun Obasanjo presented a bill for the prohibition and punishment of bribery and other related offenses to the National Assembly. The bill was subsequently passed into law as the Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offenses Act in June 2000. The law, which aims to prohibit, prevent, proscribe, and prescribe punishments for corruption and was modeled after those of Hong Kong and Singapore, also paved way for the establishment of the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offenses Commission, ICPC. The Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offenses Act 2000 brings under its purview all Nigerians in the public and private sectors and even those public officers with constitutional immunity.
Give him his shoes somewhere here, his phone and everything.
Bye-bye.
Hey, Oga, where do you think you are going?
Oh, you never shake body.
Eh?
You never shake body.
Shake body, see?
Never shake body.
I no get congo for my body.
You go take for here. Sit down there.
What's this man still doing here?
They say I do shake body. I shake body, I shake body. They say I do this. And I say I don't get congo.
You are asking for money.
Sorry, ma'am.
Asking for money to bail a suspect is an act of corruption. Both of you will be punished. Corruption is not allowed within the force. Remember,
police is your friend. Giving and taking bribe is wrong.
corruption not in my country.
Stop corruption now.
Corruption not in my country.
Welcome back. This is Corruption Must Go, ICPC's weekly television program. Over the years, ICPC had demonstrated a strong commitment to discharge its tripartite mandate of enforcement, prevention, and public education, and mass mobilization with all sense of responsibility. Under the enforcement, the Commission had taken on grand corruption by prosecuting highly placed government officials, such as ex-governors, ministers, heads of agencies. It has also fought petty corruption perpetrated by low-level public officers, including law enforcement agents. The Commission's effort at sanitizing the process of visa procurement has resulted in the conviction of many visa scammers and earned it the commendation of many embassies, including those of the USA, UK, and India, with a lot more seeking the expertise of the Commission to help it stem the tide of illegal migration by Nigerian citizens into its country.
In its resolve to tackle corruption in the country through its preventive mandate, the Commission has set out various strategies that include establishment of anti-corruption and transparency units in MDAs, with over 400 actors established so far. ICPC has carried out system studies in ministries, departments and agencies, MDAs, and other public bodies, and has instructed and advised most of them on ways to improve their processes in a manner that they would be resilient to corruption. The Commission also carried out corruption risk assessment of processes at 2 major airports, 6 seaports, some MDGs-related MDAs, among others, with recommendations for far-reaching reforms. One of such recommendations resulted in the development and harmonization of standard operating procedures, SOPs, for all agencies operating at the ports, and installation of a port service support portal as a mechanism for addressing complaints on integrity and service issues.
Remarkably too, the Commission with its partners through the Constituency Project Tracking Group recently set out to track constituency projects in 12 states of the Federation in order to ensure proper implementation of funded projects of various constituencies across the nation. This initiative, which has led to multiple recoveries of items, hospital equipment, vehicles and funds, has also forced many contractors who had abandoned projects return to site to complete them.
Pursuant to an aspect of its 3-pronged mandate of educating the public on and against bribery, corruption and related offences, and enlisting and fostering public support in combating corruption, the Commission has carried series of trainings, campaigns, and initiatives such as Citizens Engagement Forum, Integrity Education Project, training of teachers on National Values Curriculum, introduction of National Values Curriculum into educational system, establishment of National Anti-Corruption NYSC groups, anti-corruption clubs, and the National Anti-Corruption Volunteer Corps, NVC, among other citizen participation platforms.
It is in order to facilitate the effective implementation of its functions that the Commission established a training academy known as ACAN to equip its staff with the necessary skills and knowledge that would enable them perform at required levels. The academy, which is also designed to provide training for public officers, public servants, and the general public on good governance, accountability, transparency, integrity, ethics, and all issues relating to corruption, has trained over 8,000 persons.
In its effort to rid Nigeria of corruption through lawful enforcement and preventive measures, it is imperative to state that the new ICPC board has steered the wagon of the anti-corruption war in a manner that has never been seen before. Amazing sums of stolen public funds have been recovered, and unlike what obtained in the past, the big guns of the society, hitherto untouchable, are now being touched. Indeed, the war against corruption is raging on fiercely.
Corruption not in my country.
I don't get a lot. Boy, they won't booga me small. They say, man, give them bribe. I say, nothing. Okay, now, we'll go block later. You remember that contract we will do that time now? They don't pay.
But first, you see the house rent with the old since. We go first call caretaker, take the money, slap am.
Beg, see, you know, say I get annual levy why they pay for club. Where me and boys they shark beer na house I supposed pay that one. You remember say me and tell you I go buy you motor. I go buy na.
Okay, they pay you money now. Why don't they beg caretaker? Why would they beg landlord, old man, and they agree give us time? Money can't come now. You won't divert am. You said na corruption. Corruption, not in my house and not in my country.
Sure?
Sure.
Corruption not in my country.
Let me first of all congratulate our president, his team, the National Assembly, the judiciary, in fact, every Nigerian, the armed forces, everybody, that God has spared our lives, even to witness the 59th anniversary of our dear nation, Nigeria. Corruption is an endemic disease that has eaten deep into the fabric of our society. And deep-rooted corruption is responsible for the state of our nation, the poor infrastructure. One can go on. We all know. We know how this monster had affected us. Our dream for a great nation is threatened by corruption, and it has tainted our image and has touched negatively even on our social life. In order to stem the ugly situation, government has brought about many initiatives and has set up agencies to assist in fighting the monster called corruption. One of such agencies is the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission that we'll be referring to as the ICPC. Under Section 6 of the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Act 2000, the ICPC has 3 core mandates with the acronym I conned it and I put it EPE. EPE. That means enforcement, prevention, and education. Those are the core mandates of the commission. The present administration is passionate and is sustaining the fight against corruption at all levels. This political will has really spurred the present ICPC board under the able leadership of Professor Bolaji Owasunji to swing into action to ensure that we do not compromise on the fight against corruption. We are working tirelessly to ensure that the ICPC carry out its mandate to the letter under the law. Regarding enforcement, the public is aware of the efforts of the Commission with investigation and prosecution since the board was inaugurated in February this year. It has been full speed ahead with the mandate. I cannot go on to reel out line of cases that we have won. We thank God we are moving on in the fight against corruption under this mandate. With prevention, the Commission has done a lot again. For instance, the system study and review of MDAs to block all systemic loopholes that leads to corruption and to see that the citizenry experience the benefits of good governance. We are doing that. The effort so far had yielded fruits, and we are continuing. We are not relenting on that. Also, we have traced illicit and ill-gotten assets and recovered some assets back to government. It is the government's decision to use it. We recover. We don't use recovered assets. And we are working with all the arms of government charged with the responsibility to use it to ensure that it is properly utilized. So, also, we have the Commission's constituency project tracking groups. The initiative is bringing results, I must tell you. We are tracking constituency projects to ensure that there is value for money and that the projects are not only done, but they are done to specification. The Commission is on top of that. And from what you read in papers, from whatever, Nigerians now know that it is their duty to ensure that projects paid for by government are, properly utilized, but that they are done. They have a duty to police that and see that nobody carries those money away or store what they bought under that heading, store it away. You have to make sure that it reaches the public, and we are ensuring that. On education, there is anti-corruption clubs in secondary schools to catch the children and youth young and to inculcate strong moral values into them in their formative years and to ground them in good and practical behaviors. If we don't get it right, we have a mandate to ensure that those coming after us, they get it right. We also have the National Anti-Corruption Volunteer Corps. These are a group of Nigerians and volunteers that they volunteer to be police in each community to ensure that even public officials, even these projects that we are talking about, that everybody, that we do what we are supposed to do. They are policing the site. They are like watchdogs in communities, and they are joining hands with the Commission in fighting and preventing corruption. They also act as whistleblowers. As a matter of fact, any member of the public can be whistleblower. So far you are sure of your facts and that you see that they are actionable and sustainable. The Commission has the listening ear. Petitions can be sent to us, and if it is we investigate if we see that it has merits, under our mandate. So they have the mandate to report cases of corruption, and they act as role models in the society. We have done a lot to educate the public. As a matter of fact, this program that we are on, Corruption Must Go, is part of educating the public. It's part of enlightening the public. It's part of telling them this is where we are. Come on board, join us. We want to fight this monster. We cannot do it alone. Join us to fight it. And we have a lot of programs on televisions, on radio, to educate the public, to let them be aware, to bring them into consciousness, to see that they have a duty to themselves, to the nation, and to everybody for the benefit of all. So the Commission is alive to its duty. We are training our officers. We are doing an exchange program, even with other countries abroad. Our officers are in top form. We are ensuring that, and everybody, all our hands are on deck to fight the monster called corruption. So, as Nigeria turns 59, my dear, it's been a long journey. We would like to encourage Nigerians to be hopeful that the monster named corruption must go and it will be subdued.
Corruption not in my country.
What you want to buy?
Potato. Small baskets.
I want plantain. But why your plantain can't hard like this?
Madam, now the outside hard. Inside there, it is very soft.
Madam, wallahi make her no buy am. Make her show you something. What? What be this one? Madam, this one now the chemical where they put on for the plantain make her ripe up.
So you dey put chemical for plantain where people go chop?
No water, no be chemical.
Water. You know say Pela I don't talk and say water and not be enemy. Drink am.
Where you collect that water, drink am.
I just stop finish. See my belly. It don't big. I just stop drink water finish. I don't
drink am. Wait, you drink am now. At the sell and plantain, I go come put am for chemical because I want to make a ripe go. That's why I talk now corruption. Corruption. Not be for this kaswa, come not be for this country. Now me take
Stop corruption now.
Corruption not in my country.
There is no doubt that these programs and initiatives put in place by the Commission have remarkably contributed to improved rating of Nigeria on the Corruption Perception Index from the second most corrupt country 16 years ago to 144 among 180 in 2018 to 2019. In spite of these laudable achievements, the Commission is of the belief that there is still room for improvement in the face of new realities and challenges. The new ICPC board is determined not to rest on these laurels until its vision of a Nigeria free from all forms of corruption and corrupt practices is achieved. Join ICPC in the raging war against corruption to reclaim Nigeria. Visit our website www.icpc.gov.ng or call our toll-free lines as shown on the screen or make your reports, enquiries and suggestions. Follow us on Twitter at ICPC_PA. You can also watch the program on our YouTube channel, www.youtube.com/ICPC Nigeria. See you again next week from us in the studio is bye for now.